Sprite Castle. Sprite Castle. Sprite Castle.
Mr. Rob O'Hara.
Sprite Castle.
Hello and welcome to the first episode of Sprite Castle. Sprite Castle is a new video podcast. Is that a podcast? Is that a video cast? A vlogcast? Vodcast? I don't know what this is. Basically, this is a new program in which I, your host, Rob Flack O'Hara, will be playing Commodore 64 games. So I'll be playing games and you'll be watching me play games, which, now that I think about it, actually sounds like a lot more fun for me than it does for you. There are, in the game-based 64 library, somewhere in the neighborhood of 20,000 Commodore 64 games. So some of the games I'll be playing will ones that you'll definitely be familiar with, and some of them are surely ones that you've never seen before. So sit back and enjoy. I think these episodes will last somewhere in the 10 to 15 minute range, somewhere like that. So a little bit of quick viewing. I think you can listen to them if you'd rather listen to them, but I will be playing the game, so if you watch along, you'll be able to watch me play, and no guarantees on me playing very well. I'm kind of multitasking here as I record and play the games, and some of these games I'm not very good at in the first place. So, but you will get to see what they look like, and I'll be talking a little bit about each one. So, on the first episode of Sprite Castle, I picked a classic, a game that I play a lot of in arcades and on MAME, and also on the Commodore 64, and that is Dig Dug. So let's go ahead and get Dig Dug started here. Dig Dug, as you will see, was released in 1982 by Namco. It was ported over to the Commodore 64 very early on. This is a pretty early release for the Commodore 64. You can see here the title screen, the two enemies that you have there, the Puka and the Figar, and we'll be getting to know them quite well here very shortly. On the Commodore version here, you can use the function keys to change difficulty. We're going to go ahead and start off on the easiest difficulty. We're going to go easy on me today. For F3, I don't know why these Atari games do this, but this is almost written backwards. It says press F3 for one-player game. So the default is a two-player game. So I'm going to switch it to a one-player game, and then I'm going to go ahead and hit F1 to start the game. Now what you'll see here is a version of Dig Dug that looks pretty much like the arcade version. The layout is pretty much the same. In fact, if you're familiar with the arcade version of Dig Dug, you can even use some of the same patterns that work on the arcade version. There are definitely some differences. The first and most obvious difference here is that everybody is a little bit wide and a little bit fat. And also that Figar turns around and shoots fire really quickly. Figar is, well, on fire, to use the term. There are some minor differences in the way that the characters actually react. And one of the things that you'll see here is that whenever you go to drop a rock, in the arcade version, your enemies will run away from you. So it's difficult to stack multiple bad guys and drop rocks on multiple people. It's not that difficult, but it's more difficult than it is in this version for sure. In this version, what you'll see is that they just keep chasing you no matter when you drop the rock. There are some other slight differences here. You may see one right there. In character collision, also I'm going to go collect my fruit. I guess carrot is a vegetable, but my little bonus there. If you don't know, this version of Dig Dug works the same way as the arcade in that the bonus items appear after you've dropped the second rock. The arcade's the same way. The scoring works the same way. Again, if you're not familiar with how Dig Dug scoring works, is that you get points for blowing up these figures, the Figars and the Pukas. You get more points the lower you are. So in the lower you are on the game board down here, in this bottom level of dirt, you get more points for exploding people. Boop. Now, one of the things that's a little bit different than the arcade, in the arcade, see, that would grab the ghost. These guys also seem to be really quick to turn into their ghost selves and move through the dirt. It's also easier, like I said, to multiple stack. In the arcade, those guys would have all turned and ran the other direction. But not in this version. A general rule of if you're trying to go for a high score is always go for the bonus items rather than chase the last character out of the maze, especially once you get up 2 or 3 levels. Now that is another difference, and that stinks right there, between the arcade version and this version. Is on the arcade version, when there's a small opening in the dirt like that, you can shoot your pump through there, but on this version you cannot. And so if you're used to the way the arcade version works, then you will probably be dead. So seeing that's annoying right there. But basically this is Dig Dug, so it is not all that different from the arcade version, to be honest with you. Some slight differences in character AI, and some slight, I don't know, like I said, all the early Atari games, I'll probably play Donkey Kong at some point, Dig Dug, but all of them have this same look where instead of changing the ratio and maybe putting some extra space on the sides of the games, they just spread it out to fit the Commodore's 320 by 200 display, but in doing so they made all the games look really fat. It's like we've been having a little bit too much puka pie here in Dig Dug land. Let's see if I could get this. So like I said, it's really annoying the way that usually in the arcade version of Dig Dug, when you drop a rock, if there's a ghost like right touching the rock or whatever, the rock will pull the ghost down into and kill them. But in this version, doesn't normally seem to do that. So, Dig Dug for the Commodore 64, a great arcade conversion, especially for being as early as it was in the system's library. And don't have much more to say about it than that. So, anyway, this has been the first episode of Sprite Castle. If you would like to request games that you'd like to see, or have any comments or feedback, you can email me at spritecastle@gmail.com. Also, you can find episodes of this at spritecastle.com, or Sprite Castle is a part of the Throwback Network, which is a group of retro-related podcasts. So if you want to go to throwbacknetwork.net, and you'll be able to find Sprite Castle there, along with lots of other retro-themed podcasts. So thanks for tuning in for the first episode, and I hope to see you again.